back, more about the Goetia Daemons. Everybody wants to know how to work with them. I'll give some ideas. The first thing is candles. Light some candles. Sure, it's all great. Call them into a triangle or whatever. That's not the strongest. Also, they might get a little bored. I don't know. Okay, maybe not. But calling them into a triangle and doing nothing. Incense. Of course, you want some incense. Enochian.org, of course, sells specific incense for each particular daemon, but also in general evocation incense, which is awesome. Manifestation incense. Several types of incense for working with the daemons. Or, you can just use frankincense. Everybody can get or afford frankincense. And a candle. Candles are recommended. Tapers, novenas, whatever. Tea lights are handy because they don't fall over. Also, the flames don't go yay high. One thing when you're calling spirits and you're using candles, sometimes the flames get a little unwieldy and out of hand, and tapers can fall over more easily, especially if you have those really big, tall candle holders. But tea lights, they don't fall very far. They're just kind of sitting there. Put them on some stone, some metal, something. Some sand, something fireproof. And light some tea lights for them. You can light a tea light for the daemon you're calling, or you can light several tea lights for the daemon you're calling. Or novena candles are good too. You can start your novena candle when you start your calling, and then just leave it going after the work is done. Now, that whole bit about banish after. Okay, so banish after, most people do with the Goetia. Personally, I don't call my plumber in, say, hi, how's it going? This is what I want you to do. Fix the toilet, fix the sink. Tighten this, tighten that. Oh, get the fuck out. I tend to let the plumber stay around and fix what's needed to be fixed. I don't just tell him what I need and then boot him out. I let him do his job. So that's the handy thing about novena candles, is letting them go for a few days. I don't know, the dollar store used to have those wonderful 7-day ones. They seem to be 2 or 3 day ones these days, but those work great too. Or you can get special 7-day ones. Draw the seal on the candle, or order a special one for me, but shipping from Canada. But a novena candle's awesome, and just draw the seal on. And the first seal I drew was not all nice and round like this. The first seals I drew were more like that. I don't know, my first seal sort of looked like that. I'm surprised the daemons could recognize, and they'd be like, that's my name. But somehow they still come, because it was drawn, close enough, because you can kind of sort of get the design, right? But the circle around them, not so perfect. But you try your best, do what you can do. And here's the funny thing. Everybody likes to order from me, because mine look more perfect, because I've made 1,000 of everything by now for myself and for other people, and been doing it for 27 years, right? So a little practice, they look a little more perfect. But really, the messy ones that you do, nothing wrong with that. That works just fine. Now, for your awesome metal seals, let's see which one here. For these seals to wear, it's kind of awesome to have a picture perfect one. Let me see, perfect lines all raised, all nice. See, that's kind of cool, and that's a good reward and a thank you for the daemon. When you're just starting out, you get a piece of paper, draw their seal on it, hand draw, none of this computer printout crap, magical ink, hand draw the seal, and call them. You talk with them, ask, get to know them, ask what you need help with, and see what kind of trade they might want. Now, they might want a seal as a trade, which is kind of awesome. What a better trade than that, have themselves immortalized in metal. But you can offer them that and then talk to them about it and trade them for that. However, your messily drawn seal on a piece of paper and my perfect fancy one I'm wearing here, both work. This might work a little better. Can imbue the energy in, it's immortalize them, whatever. And it lasts a long time. The paper might get sort of dirty, dusty, whatever. But both work. Start with the paper. You don't need to start with a 14K gold seal. You just don't. This one is actually 50-50 gold and silver. Electromagicum, sort of. Cast cast into a seal to get all creative, which I find many like that. And that's one of my favorite things to cast seals out of. But again, here I am talking about fancy seals because I love making the fancy seals. But pen and paper hand-drawn is awesome. You can also hand-drawn parchment. Enochian.org also sells real parchment. When you go to an occult store and it says parchment, 99% of the time that I've seen, it's not real parchment. It's a piece of paper. If you can go like this and tear it, it's not parchment. Real parchment, you cannot tear that stuff. It is solid. It's leather, but parchment. It is, you know, it's kind of like rawhide, but thinner. So some occult stores will sell it, but most it's the fake parchment. But I sell parchment, and you can get it other places too. Or you can draw on some silk. I also sell that, but so does your local fabric store. You know, not everybody wants to wait a couple weeks for the silk to come in the mail. Some people just want to get started, go to your local fabric store, start tomorrow kind of thing. So you just hand draw your daemon seal out. And in silk, you know, you kind of want to hold it down because silk does bunch up and stuff. And you draw out the seal, all nice, in magical ink. And you sit and chat with them and get to know them. How most magicians start versus how you should start. Most magicians, you know, read the grimoires, which makes sense, and go by the Christianized version of it and do prayers to God, though that's not a bad thing. Personally, I'd use a different God, but you know, prayers to the God, prayers to the divine force, and then call the daemon. Except the mistake most people make is they're rude and they demand the daemon get here and they threaten the daemon. I don't know if I'm an employer like that. I would put gum in all their machinery or something. I don't know. Nobody likes to work with somebody like that. Nobody wants to get along with somebody like that. Is that, for example, you get a new neighbor? Is that, you move into a new neighborhood? Is that how you want to introduce yourself to your neighbors? Not usually. Well, maybe some neighborhoods, but usually you get a little more friendly than that, even in those neighborhoods. So you call them up, be respectful, be polite, call them. You can be firm. Any being, human, angel, daemon, deity, whatever. You want to have boundaries and you want to be firm, but don't be a douche. I should do a course on non-douche daemon calling. Be respectful. These are kings and queens and divine beings. These are deities. You know, King Baal. You really want to call King Baal and demand he get here now? Or you'll threaten him or burn his seal? Not the best approach in my opinion. Speaking of burning seals, you should see some of my photos. I have some photos up on Facebook and I guess every social media now. I just send it off, goes to all the social media, call it good, just so nobody misses out, right? So I have some pictures of me with my jewelry torch and some cast seals, and I'm soldering a little Baal on them, you know, so you can put necklaces through, and they're red hot. Then also casting. What does casting do? Molten metal forms into here, but even after the casting is done, and it's solid, and it's a daemon seal now, and I've called the daemon, spoken to the daemon, whatever, I still heat it red hot to solder Baals onto them sometimes, or whatever, or do a little design on the back, or whatever I'm up to, and they're red hot, and I haven't seen a daemon complain yet. I also haven't seen a daemon be harmed or threatened or any less power by me making their seal red hot. So that whole, I will burn your seal, well, maybe if you're burning it on stinking substances, okay, they might be a little annoying, sort of. If somebody's in the public bathroom before you and you've seen they've been in there 20 minutes, you tend to avoid it. It could be that kind of thing, right? But I think that approach is just not the best. That is not, most people that work with the daemons, that's not how they do it. Most people that work with the daemons get out the candles. Friendly manner, sit and talk with them. Camaraderie, you know, like you talk to any person. These are people. These are not frickin' spell components. Hello? These are not minions to do your bidding. These are people. They're daemons. They're royalty. They're awesome. They're deities. Treat them with respect. So have something to offer them. Have a candle. Put some rum if you want. That's what I like to do. I like to put out some rum. Share some rum with them. Whatever your drink preference is. I don't know, peppermint schnapps, maybe not. But, you know, but rum. Rum's pretty awesome. Good standard one. Can put out. Talk with them over that. Get out the notepad and paper. Write down what you're up to. Keep notes so you don't forget what's going on during your session. And just call it in a friendly manner. And lightly at first. At first, just draw the seal out, meditate on it. Just sit there and put it on your lap or something. Meditate with the daemon. Get to know them. Because, you know, generally, I don't bring complete strangers over to my house. Generally, you know. But sure, I have once or twice in my life when I got a really good impression or whatever, and the invisible said, sure. But otherwise, no. Usually you get to know somebody before you bring them to your house. You know, I like my iPad to be here the next day, right? Stuff like that. So, same with any new being, whether it be a daemon or anybody, you get to know them a little first, see if the energy meshes. Of course, you can always get a reading. I do daemon readings to see which ones connect with you, which ones work with you. Either your main one or ones that'll work with you on a project. I do those kind of readings, so that's always cool. But also, generally, get to know them a little first. Light some candles, meditate with their seal. Just get to know them and see if the energy's good or bad. Now, if you get a bad feel off a particular daemon, no matter how many thousand people on the internet say, oh, this one's awesome, this one's great, this one's so friendly, yeah, just ignore all that crap. Gotta trust your own instinct or impressions. Daemon that I get along with, it's not necessarily one you get along with, and vice versa. We don't all get along with the same people, so keep that in mind. Get to know them, see how it goes, see how you feel. See how things around you go. Are things starting to fall apart and go bad when you bring some new spirit in? That'd either be you and the spirit don't get along, their energy's not good for you, or you got the wrong spirit and something's messing with you. There's that option too. That's why you should have your pre-setup going on. Maybe I'll do my next video on the pre-setup. Anyway, get out your candles. Tea lights are cheap. There's always the, oh, I don't have any money to do this. Pen and paper are cheap. You can even grab them from your local library if you want. They got pens and paper sitting around. Your bank always has pens. Paper too. Ask for a piece of paper. Your post office, whatever. So many pieces of paper. You want blank though, new paper. You know, virgin computer printout paper. Whatever, virgin parchment. And draw their seal. Frankincense. Frankincense is very inexpensive. And tea lights. Tea lights are at most 10 cents each. Anybody can afford a tea light. Dollar store sells them. Packs like 20 for $1, something like that. So get on it and get to work. And let me know how it went. Put some comments up. Let me know how your evocation went. Let me know how your meditation went with them. Give me some feedback. I want to know how this has been working for you. And my website is www.Enochian.org. My YouTube channel is Enochianorg, one word. So look me up, check out my videos. Make sure to like and share these things so other people can get a clue about the stuff instead of pulling stuff out of their behinds for books and internet and videos and telling their friends. See you in the next video.